course it does.
Ashton, next time I'm here and you want to do like a YouTube live, I have a tripod.
I have one too. It's just I have children and they go missing.
Well, I can bring mine because mine you can set up on a table. There you go. Perfect.
All right, we're on.
The topic of discussion for this evening is historical movies. The good, the bad, the ugly.
Specifically 18th century movies.
Yes, of course. So how about Master and Commander? Oh, Master and Commander's 19th century.
It's close enough.
Yeah, I was about to say the greatest historical film ever, and it's technically 19th century.
Technically.
I
have my list. I just focused on Revolutionary War films, and there's actually not a lot of them out there. It's under 20, really, if we include the series.
We discovered a fantastic Rev War film just today.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we were watching. So we were on Tubi, and Tubi's full of all the B movies, and so there was one that we initially watched called All for Liberty, and it was clearly like a passion project by some reenactors.
Yes.
Maybe like super shoestring budget company. And like it's a B movie. It's not particularly great, but it was enjoyable. It was about the main character. He's like this Swiss German farmer in South Carolina at the onset of the revolution. And what's funny is like there's characters who come on that like I've met at events. Like Jim Sawgrass was in it. And it then after that was finished, we looked at one. It was called Battle of Camden, I think was the name.
Yes, it was.
And it was awful. So awful.
We're talking like Amazon Halloween costume level of clothing.
Appears to be frozen.
No.
Yeah, am I frozen now?
Yeah,
you're good now.
Okay. Yeah, I was just sending a.
What was the last thing you heard us say?
It was about a shoestring budget and uniforms that were lacking in authenticity.
Oh, so you heard everything.
Yeah, so that was the Battle of Camden movie. It was really bad. It was on Tubi.
It was so bad that we had to unplug from the TV and we took like a 30-minute walk through the woods just to cleanse our palates of it. And all of the joking we had about All for Liberty, we looked back at All for Liberty after watching this movie and was like, you know what? That deserved like an Oscar.
Yeah, that was cinema right there.
Yeah.
Anyway, yes, I came up with my list here.
We got a comment.
Yes. What do we have?
It says y'all based off the American Revolution. That's absolutely right.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Let's just dive right into it. Number one, I had the Patriot, year 2000, starring Mel Gibson and Heath Ledger, directed by Roland Emmerich. Your thoughts?
Unpopular opinion. I preferred Heath Ledger in this film than Batman. I'm sure that's a hot take, and I'm waiting for the comments to erupt, but I don't know, because I feel like we saw a bit more of the late Heath Ledger in that film. Whereas the Joker, it was clearly a caricature. I feel like with the Patriot, we saw a bit more of him kind of put himself into that role rather than take on a persona.
Yeah.
I thought it was a very good movie, personally. Like is it the most authentic to what happened in the war? No. But is it a great freedom boner that makes me, proud to be an American? Absolutely. It's an enjoyable movie.
Do you recall Mr. Kinn?
Yeah.
So one of the reenactors in the group that we are we are together in. One of the fellers was in that movie. He was part of the color guard.
Okay.
And that he was an extra. You really can't see his face. Blink and you miss it kind of moments. But the fact that we can say, and this is a little bit of twist in things here, is we know someone who acted in the movie The Patriot. We can just say that, and we're good to go.
Get you some street cred, yeah.
Yeah.
Um, I think I did actually see that in the theater back in 2000. I was not reenacting Rev War at that time, so I really couldn't be counted on the authenticity of uniforms and equipment and all that. I mean, now I have a little bit more of
We were
Nuanced
having our
view.
diapers changed when that movie came out.
Yeah, I would have been like 2 or 3.
Yeah, I was if it came out before September of 2000, I was not even a year old yet.
Okay, now you're making the schoolmaster feel old. Dang it! Was in my what was it? I was in my 20s. So. Although it is what it big, but it's interesting. I watched another fellow on YouTube, and they were talking about that movie was I don't know how many millions of dollars they spent, but it was a big budget production, and for what it was, they had some nice cinematography in it from the battle scenes and such. I thought it was kind of neat, the Battle of Camden, just watching the round shot, tear people apart and all that.
And the
Yeah.
takeoff orders.
Yeah, I mean, the battle.
I'm glad you mentioned that, because in most films where you see 18th and 19th century artillery pieces, they kind of just explode like they're shooting modern tank rounds. But no, that's not how artillery of the time period behaved. It would quite literally skirt off the ground.
We got a comment here. It says, "Is this George I'm speaking to?"
Which one?
No.
God save the king. God save the king.
So I have a proposal. We change the title of the American Revolution to the War of the Georges.
George versus George. There we go. That's an
Well,
idea.
yeah, you had George Washington and King George III. The War of the Georges.
Okay, moving on. Let us
Yes.
go back to the quaint time in American history, the 1950s. 1957, Johnny Tremaine, starring Hal Salmaster, Lavon Patton, Jeff York, directed by Robert Stevenson. Your thoughts?
Yeah. So I've seen bits and pieces of it, and what's interesting to me is like the ambush scenes. I feel like the Patriot almost play by play ripped them off or took heavy inspiration from them.
Maybe.
That's the one that has the Liberty Tree song, right?
Yep, that's all right.
Yep.
Oh, we have an interesting comment right here. Sounds fair to me, but what about the French?
What
about the French?
Is that Gerard Depardieu in the movie? Yeah, it was. Played the attaché, the advisor.
Yeah, we got a comment here. Do you want me to name all the presidents? Well, that would take quite a while.
So far, we just have one. George.
Yeah, we don't have one yet. We're working on it. Johnny Tremaine, I liked. You know what I liked in that movie? I liked the before green screens. What was it? Was it called a matte? Like the painting they did. They just did like a back.
We talked about that in acting school, and what the hell was it named?
It was
title.
Being from Boston, that was kind of a convincing look at what Boston might have appeared like at the time. I thought it was a painting. They're walking down these narrow streets and everything. Other than that, the outfits are terrible, but whatever. Disney, 1950s.
Well, Caleb joined in. Howdy, y'all.
What's up, Caleb?
Hello, sir. Okay, moving on to the year 2000, The Crossing with one of our relatives in Hollywood, Jeff Daniels.
Here.
Yep, here, Mr. Daniels, and Roger Rees and Sebastian Cork, directed by Robert Harmon. I like that movie actually. It has
Yes, I thought Jeff Daniels did an amazing job in that scene, like where Horatio Gates is in the the building where they're having dinner. that scene
Yep.
is very well done.
Mm.
In my opinion.
Yeah. He's-
His historian Bob from Boston is
Oh, yeah.
watching.
Hey,
Yeah,
Bob.
welcome on, Bob.
Hello, hello.
You're here.
One of my colleagues. Welcome. Yeah, I liked it. I liked how they did the river crossing. That was good. Apparently, the Hessians were not like all. Supposedly, the Hessians were strung out because they had been on high alert for like weeks, and they had, according to, I don't know if it was Philbrick or was it Nathaniel, one of the new books that came out about Washington's Crossing. He said they were exhausted because they had been being sniped at for weeks by the New Jersey militia, and they were just exhausted from having their traps on, the whole time. And there was a snowstorm, and they got ambushed earlier in the night, so they kind of said that they're not going to hit us tonight. But they still, that counted against them when the attack came.
It appears this young man is listing all the presidents.
Well, I salute you.
So far, so
Oh, there we
far, so
go.
Good.
There's one of my favorites right there, Andrew Jackson.
Oh yeah.
Jacksonian democracy.
John Quincy.
Andrew Jackson. What's interesting about him is like his. He was known for his temper.
Temper.
And obviously, there were the duels and the assassination attempts. Where the guy tried to shoot him and the pistols failed and he beat him with the stick.
My I had just recently started looking into Sam Houston because I live in Houston, Texas, and
Yep.
his name is everywhere. And it was interesting because, excuse me, Andrew Jackson he treated Sam Houston almost like a protege, and not just like a protege, like, oh, this is someone from a wealthy family that I was, acquainted with. It was kind of like this underdog that uh, was just coming on up through the ranks. And my something that gave me a chuckle was when he was sent to Texas. The things he was doing kind of made Andrew Jackson kind of furrow his brow, like, what are you doing? And then he was the epitome. Sam Houston was the epitome of trust me, bro. And everything he was doing in Texas, for America, with the not approval of Andrew Jackson, it's the epitome of trust me, bro. And I got tickled over that.
Well, we got a comment here. What's the opinion on Barry Lyndon? Barry Lyndon, I would say, is like one of the best 18th century movies ever made.
Yep.
And I was watching a behind the scenes. Apparently Stanley Kubrick, he went to such a length that they got a camera from NASA in order to film in candlelight because he wanted to be as authentic as possible with lighting and everything. He wanted it all natural light or firelight. And I think almost every scene from that movie looks like a 18th century painting.
Yeah.
Really well done movie.
What movie was it again?
Barry
Lyndon.
Yeah, it was a good one. I actually had not watched that until probably about 3 or 4 years ago, and I was really pleased with that movie. It was great. Let's see. Oh, okay. Next one I have is another one from the family. 1776, starring William Daniels. Another Daniels. Funny how that keeps happening. That was from 1972. It was a musical about the Declaration of Independence. What did you?
So I've actually never seen that one.
Oh, okay.
He's still listing off presidents.
He's still listing off presidents.
Yeah, we're at Herbert Hoover.
Herbert Hoover. Okay.
Well,
Yeah.
3 cheers for the young man and his obsession with the presidents. You're here.
I'm actually related to Lyndon B. Johnson. Actually,
Right.
he is my 5th cousin, twice removed.
Interesting. All I can boast of is my great grandfather was classmates with Ike, and they were actually friends. I have some of the letters they wrote each other.
Oh,
from West Point. Okay.
Now that's actually cool. My thing is just, that's actually cool.
Yeah, he's friends with Omar Bradley too, because they were all in the class of 1915 at West Point. So, let's see. April Morning. I liked April Morning. 1988. Tommy Lee
Oh,
Jones, Chad
I,
Lowe, and
I yes, I very much enjoyed April Morning. I thought that one was very good.
I guess one of the local reenactors up here, Redcoat, he was in that film as well. And the scene on the Lexington Green, the Redcoats were all reenactors. They were not extras, like not actors. And the militia were all Canadian extras. And that actually played out well because when you see the Redcoats coming out and responding to all the orders and everything, and the extras kind of had very limited training, so they're kind of standing like that. So it was interesting. I think the militia might have been a little bit better trained than that in Lexington, but still they'd be overwhelmed by the spectacle of all the regulars setting up.
Yeah, well, I thought that was one of the better portrayals of redcoats on the screen ever, and I guess there's our reason, right? They were actually reenactors, someone with some passion. Um, but I thought it was a very enjoyable movie. Definitely a little dated, uh, but I do think it was very good.
Acton, correct me if I'm wrong, but a few years ago, weren't you an extra in a period movie?
No, there was a proposition to our group to take part in one,
Mm-hmm.
but I never ended up in one.
Oh,
It was I think A&E wanted to do a special about pirates, and I'm part of a group in Florida called the Crew of the Scavenger, which is authentic
Oh,
early.
yes, I've seen those photos. They're really neat, really interesting.
Yeah, it's a really good group of guys. They're all good folks.
oh, we have a really interesting comment here. Should there be a movie about the Boston Tea Party? Yes, absolutely, there should be.
I agree.
We have a comment here. This tomfoolery.
Tomfoolery.
Well, that's 90% of the reason we do things is the tomfoolery.
It's a Saturday evening. It has to be some tomfoolery, some shenanigans.
Oh, you should have seen us on Thanksgiving Day. We got quite rowdy.
Yeah, we had a colonial Thanksgiving. It was really good get together. Like it was me, my wife, my buddy, his wife, and then I had another buddy and his wife. They all come and we all were in kit. And, we had candlelight and everything.
Yeah.
It was such an awesome get together.
The libations flowed like the Tigris River.
Okay, maybe we have time for like one more. It's going close to 20 minutes now. Revolution, 1985, with Al Pacino, Donald Sutherland, and Natasha Kaznick, Polish name.
That one was a hard watch for me. I couldn't even I couldn't get very far into it. Now I'll say this: the set looked great,
Yeah,
but for me, I did not find it an enjoyable movie to watch.
yeah, I remember watching that as a child in the 80s, and it's very dark and gloomy. I mean, they filmed it in England, I believe, and they used a town called Kings Lynn. I looked it up, and it is like a portside town, and it looks like Brooklyn or New York during that time. Very easily, you could disguise it. And I gave like two thumbs up for the sets, and they're amazing. Except Yorktown, which was clearly Scotland, like the Highlands, big cliffs and everything. I'm like, that is not Virginia. So, but yeah, I mean, the movie kind of I don't want to say it lacked direction because it's it has a plot, but it kind of did lack direction. Just kind of
You want some tea in a bottle of water?
You want some tea and a bottle of water, mate?
Well, speaking like a man of Massachusetts Bay Colony, so water.
A bottle of water.
There you
That's
go.
how they.
We say water up here, their accent.
Something that I would like. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I think probably the last thing we should do before we cut it is I said the good, the bad, the ugly, and the missing. So, what battle or era or story would you like to have seen a movie about the Revolution? I'll go first. For me, I would love to see a movie on the Battle of Bunker Hill.
Yeah, I mean, that would make a really cool movie.
If it's done correctly, of course.
What I would like to see would be actually after the revolution, like, not a movie, because personally, I'm more of a TV show kind of guy. TV show, episode 1 is literally the day after the revolution had won. And we get to watch, it's like a drama kind of Game of Thrones, but less stabby and
That's stabby.
nude. Basically we watch a historical drama of them going, well, shoot, we just kicked the crown out of here. Now let's actually build a nation, and actually getting to see the political backdoor intricacies of nation building. How are we going to get these 13 colonies to think like one nation? How are we going to get people to actually trust in us? What are we going to do about the third of the population that were loyalists? You know, I would like to see a historical drama where we get to see the nation after the revolution build itself into a nation.
That would certainly be neat, like that federal period.
Yep.
Because then you also have stuff like the Whiskey Rebellion or Shays Rebellion.
Yep.
Something I was thinking. There's so much material there that would be really cool. And one thing I would like to see is maybe a movie on the Quebec expedition.
Yes.
But I think that would be very hard for American viewers to watch because they're like, hey, this guy Benedict Arnold, he's really awesome. He's a war hero. Like, why don't we have statues of this guy?
Yeah, and on the topic of Benedict Arnold's, everyone likes to crap on him because ultimately he did turn traitor, but he was a really good commander. And I feel
I could see things from his position, right? Like,
yeah,
was betrayal the right answer? No, but I can understand why he did it.
yeah. But still, he turned coat, so we can only show so much love.
So much leniency.
That's a better way to put it.
Leniency, yeah.
And unfortunately, Andre got hung in his stead.
Yeah.
To Andre.
Yeah.
To Andre.
A worthy opponent, yes. All right.
And it's a very interesting case study on Andre because when he died, you had men on our side, patriots who mourned his loss because he was seen as this man is the epitome of a gentlemanly officer. And he was very respected on both sides, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
And personally, I don't think he should have been hung, but that's neither here or there.
Yeah, it's probably was payback for Nathan Hale.
Yeah,
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. Oh well. All right. Well, we made a dent in the list. We got about a quarter of the way through it. But yeah, compared to World War II, Vietnam, there's really not many movies on this era. So.
Well, never mind.
I was going to say, I think that's also it's a great expense to outfit for this time period. It's not like World War II where the cut of clothes are fairly modern and the equipment was produced in mass and you can get surplus or you can get repros fairly easily. Whereas in the 18th century, everything is hand sewn. It's linen, wool. It's just so much different than modern, or even the weapons. Like you can produce Sten guns with modern machinery, but to build a flintlock, you require hand fitting.
Well, for movies, we have the 10-foot rule. So your main characters or the people who are centerpiece in the shot, give them the good stuff. Give them the musket that's well made, contracted out to these gunsmiths, but people who are 30, 40 plus feet away from the camera, you can honestly just shave down a plank of wood and attach a piece of pipe to it, and it passed the the 30-foot rule. Much in the similar way, chainmail in much older time period movies. We had a discussion earlier this weekend, actually, about
with the knitted sweaters.
no. It was they're able to 3D print chainmail, and it's plastic, but it behaves like chainmail. And then with some cheeky spray painting, it would pass the 30-foot rule. So really, I think if you observe the 30-foot rule, where everyone 30 within 30 feet of the camera looks chef's kiss, reenactor quality, and then everyone further away is close enough to where you can't tell the difference at that distance. I think you could put on a Revolutionary War film using a World War II film's budget.
It's possible. I'd be interested in seeing them attempt it. Absolutely.
Oh yeah.
All right.
Or you could just give about $500 to every reenactor you could convince to show up, and then boom, there you go. You don't have to pay for anything except the wages of the reenactors. There
Yep.
you go. They'll bring their own stuff.
Right,
Yep.
but that's too logical. We can't be doing that.
Oh yeah, right.
They would just own you for about a week, though. You can't go home. Sorry. Just, you're camping out here for a week. Dang it. All right.
I feel like we'd be hard pressed to find a reenactor that wouldn't say yes to spending a week in the 18th century and getting paid to do it. Oh, come on.
In
Yeah,
the
no one's
summer
gonna say
time,
that.
sign the schoolmaster up. I was in that one film that should be out in the I think April or May next year. So
The Loyalists.
yeah, the Loyalist one. We'll see what posterity makes of that film. But
Ooh, I'll definitely have to give that a look.
it's interesting being a part of it, though.
Right. What would be some interesting memories from the filming of that you'd like to share?
I think it'd be good for us to do an episode on it when it comes out. But yeah, just before that time, I would say watching kind of the movie magic, because I've never actually been in a film before, and a lot of the film takes place near a colonial house and on the grounds of it. But that town is about 30 or 40 minutes drive north of where I live, and they would not let them film inside that house. So all the interior shots are in the one in my town at the General Sylvanus Thayer house. So it's kind of movie magic where you think, and the guy runs out the door, and then he's really a 40-minute drive away at another entirely different location.
Yeah, it's good to hear these kind of things, especially because I'm in acting and modeling class.
Okay.
So your experience, not just as a reenactor, but as someone who did a historical film in any capacity, I will gladly pick your brain.
Yeah, sure. Well, I mean, when the actors say it was a long day and it's grueling, you kind of poo poo it like, oh, you're an actor. How hard could the day be? But it
Oh
was
no.
literally about 12 hours. It was 7:30 in the morning to 7:30 p.m.
Yeah, I
And
remember watching interviews with what's his name? Elijah Wood, and with I know a little off topic here, but Lord of the Ring, they filmed from 6 to 6.
Well, that just sounds like my job, anyways.
Yeah, that's a good point. We're both soldiers, so we're used to that kind of time scale. Now you mean to tell me that my 12-hour shift is I just get to play make believe, get filmed doing it, and get paid a lot more than I get paid now for it, dude.
yeah, it was it was just neat having that old house with so many people in it. Once more. And just seeing the technology, the cameras, because you could be in the next room and they're filming a scene in the other room, and you can kind of watch it because somebody's got a little monitor. and just how clear the picture was. I thought it'd be like grainy, like the old VHS cassette tapes, but it was actually crystal clear. Um,
Hmm.
and they put your mark on the floor. It's like a little plastic tee, and that's where you're supposed to walk out to and do what you're going to do, and then walk. I would walk away. I had a very minor cameo, basically. I appeared 3 times. No, didn't say anything, but
The fact you're in the movie means we're gonna have to watch this like 3 or 4 times, and we're gonna like look for
Yeah,
it.
and then there he goes. There he goes.
Yeah, it's that Leonardo DiCaprio meme. Oh,
Yeah.
it's the director's second cousin or something. Fucking movie. But
Well,
yeah,
on the subject of 18th century movies, a really good one we were just talking about is The Bounty with
yeah.
Anthony Hopkins and Mel Gibson.
don't spoil nothing. I know it's blasphemous to say I have yet to see it.
Well,
It's
I
very
just watched
good.
it about a month ago. I hadn't seen it.
Very
I've been
good.
on
Oh.
Mubi, so.
It's extra scandalous because I actually did turn of the century sailor reenacting. I believe I talked about this last time we spoke on the after party. I did the George Vancouver expedition to the Pacific Northwest, which they set sail in 1792 and they made it back to England in 1795. So
Yep.
yeah, and that group they went 3 months and all they could talk about was the Bounty and Hornblower
Horatio.
and Horatio Hornblower. And I felt weird because I hadn't seen either of them because while this took off with our group, I was off doing some stuff with the Modern Army. And I've yet to watch either of them, and now after this weekend, I feel like I need to just go put all my other shows on pause and go watch these.
Put that in the list.
Yeah, it's all right. I'll finish Outlander sometime this decade.
I know
Okay.
one guy from Outlander. I did meet an extra from Outlander. He's Scottish.
Ah,
He came over to New Hampshire. He's helping some people I know on a farm up there, and I met him, and he wanted to shoot a flintlock because he didn't get to do it on the show. So I let him fire up a blank out of the flintlock.
Outlander had a joke in it that's been kind of the running joke of our weekend because we've been drinking port. So
Port, not Madeira. It's portly. Port. You need to try Tokai from Hungary. Yes.
Well, you've seen the scene, right? I don't know if you watched Outlander.
I haven't seen it actually.
Well, there's
Everybody
a
around
scene
me has.
where I'm not going to spoil too much. Where there's a scene where there's a Scotsman. I think it's Angus.
it was Angus.
And Claire gives him a bottle of port,
Okay.
and he kind of, he's this Scottish Highlander. He's never got to drink the good stuff, so he pours, he drinks it, and he kind of swishes it around, and he goes, port. He says it with the posh English accent. It was pretty good.
No, he drank like half the bottle and goes, "Oh," very mockingly,
Yeah,
and then walks off with the bottle.
that very likely could have happened. I haven't seen it in a very long time.
I currently like 2 weeks ago started the show over because this is now my third attempt to watch it start to finish, and I had just seen that episode this week before coming here. So yeah, that's how it happened. Great show. If you haven't seen it, I think I speak for both of us here. We can't recommend it enough. It's a very, very good show, and I love the story. And I'm jealous of Claire. She's living my fantasy.
Oh, well, you want to find a big Scottish Highlander?
No, I want to. No, I want to
hairy
go
man.
back to the 18th century.
Well, with
And
my
that's
luck,
unusual.
I'd probably get smallpox after about a few days of transporting myself there and die. So,
Knowing my luck, I would end up in continental Europe and then I don't speak the language and I'm wearing like a t-shirt and sweatpants and all my reenacting stuff is still at home in the 21st century and just be like, well, I'm screwed.
there's always begging.
No, Knowing my luck, I would get caught with one of these reproduction coins in my pocket and hanged for
Forgery.
counterfeiting.
Yep.
Yeah,
Counterfeit, right? Yeah.
what you be having that Spanish coin in your pocket there, mate?
Forget the nationality of the coin. I would be caught with a reproduction coin that's not made with true silver and then be hanged for counterfeiting.
Well,
Oh,
My
this is
last
quick.
no, that my last words before my long drop and a short stop would be, "Damn you, Ashton!"
well, well, you always have this option. You could just go to your local recruiter and take the king shilling.
That was my plan. Like, if I ended up in t-shirt and sweatpants with nothing else, and I get shot back to, I'm gonna say like the 7 Years War time period. First thing I'm doing is I'm beelining it to the first recruitment sergeant and being like, "Hey, I'm not insane. Give me the shilling. I want to join."
Yeah, or just
Because what the hell else am I gonna do?
take your T-shirt off. Like, I've been robbed. Will you please help me?
These
Yeah,
weird
I'll
clothes.
straight up trip.
Yep. Yeah, that's a good scene in Barry Lyndon. If you haven't seen it, was
I haven't seen it, so
Okay.
don't spoil. Don't spoil. Don't
well,
spoil.
it's along the lines of what you just described. So therefore, I think you'd really enjoy the film.
Yeah, Ashton, I think after we come offline, that might be something we should watch tonight.
Yes.
Cool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
if I can find it. Yeah.
Oh, is it what?
Sergeant, this man is under arrest.
Yep. So are we reading the comments? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, amigo.
I think we missed.
Yeah, Caleb hopped off, and that Isaiah kid, the one who kept naming the president.
Yeah, someone, Caleb said there were a few inaccuracies, but still,
What's
what movie were you talking about?
I think that was.
Well,
Or show?
he
can you
made
scroll
that comment
back?
a while ago.
Yeah.
Nah. Okay. I don't. I think. Oh, you know what it was? It was I think Mutiny on the Bounty that he was talking about.
Oh.
Which yeah, he's
Yeah.
correct. Actually, that boat sank. I heard in a storm. The one they use in the movie.
Yes, I heard that as well.
Yeah, I watched a YouTube video that talked about that whole thing. It's entirely the captain's fault, if you want my opinion. Bit of a shocking, scandalous thing to say. But no, like, he was getting constant weather updates and he was just flat out ignoring them. And what happened. So, and it's been a while since I've seen that. I'm gonna call it a documentary because that's how it was structured. Um, yeah, the captain was just he shouldn't have been a captain.
Oh, he's
And
an obstinate man, difficult to deal with from everything I've read. And he
Yeah.
he basically he did. It's like he kind of almost like was autistic in the sense that he didn't realize he was pushing the men so hard, and that they didn't like that. They resented him from it.
they were also sailing straight into a storm, and he ignored the storm. And well,
Try to push through it. Mm.
yeah. And if you get in a fight with Mother Nature, you're gonna lose.
Yeah, I mean around that. I have trouble comprehending that. You try and go around that area of South America, and there's just storms like constantly pushing you away from getting through there. So it's like when you get a nice day of weather, you can just sail through into the Pacific.
Speaking of sailing, and I know it's technically a 19th century movie, but Master and Commander, I wanted to ask y'all's opinions about what you thought of that movie, because for me, that's one of the greatest historical films of all time because of the attention to detail that they gave.
Oh, perfect. Absolutely. It probably is one of the best. I would argue the best historical movie ever made. It's perfection. It's it's a
Tear from my eye. It's beautiful.
This is beautiful. I've been staring at it for 5 hours.
But
But
I
no,
haven't watched it in a few years. They did change some stuff from the book. I think in the book they were Americans, not French.
Correct.
Yep. And they
So,
kind of, you got to sell tickets, so they changed it to they're all French, not Americans and stuff.
so my favorite part about the film, because when I was doing the turn of the century sailor impression, the Chathams,
Right.
Yeah.
I was the ship's surgeon. So that one scene where they were performing a trepanation on the guy,
Yep.
as well as the amputation of the young midshipman,
Yeah.
it was chef's kiss. You can't get better than that because they were the attention to detail was just so much, all the way down to if you blink, you'll miss it. But that you'll notice that when he did the amputation in the surgeon's auditorium, was there was sand on the ground.
Yep.
And what they did historically on ships, most especially on ships, was they dumped sand all around the workspace so that if there was an excess of blood or other excrement, it wouldn't make the floor slippery and the surgeon can move and perform his duty on a ship that's rocking and a rolling while at sea. The side effect also adding that it was rather hygienic because I can just scoop the sand up, toss it overboard, and now bodily fluids are not being they're not coming into contact with the sailors.
Mm.
Another thing that I found really interesting or really enjoyed was the fact that when the surgeon in that movie was performing trepanation on the guy, the entire crew kind of just was watching. And it's interesting because a lot of higher status medical practitioners of the time, mostly of surgeons, but some physicians, they had auditoriums where people will go and they'll travel days just to watch a surgery in the auditorium. Because let's say we are a farming community. What kind of ailments am I as a surgeon in this town going to face? I'm going to face illness. I'm going to face probably twisted ankles because someone found a pothole or something, cuts where that needs sutures, what have you. Well, how often am I, as a farm town surgeon, going to see a trepanation? Or I'm going to see treating a musket shot? Very rarely. So these medical practitioners of the time period would go on basically a vacation to the bigger towns or to towns where the demographics were very different, and they would get literally into an auditorium. It was a circular room with bleachers almost, and they would watch a surgeon perform his surgery on a person, and this was it was a learning opportunity because let's pretend I've been a surgeon for 30 years and I never once had to pull a musket ball out of someone. I now have an opportunity to witness a musket ball being removed from someone. So if, God forbid, someone in my town um, was careless with a musket and ended up shooting his hunting partner, well, now I know what to do. And swinging back to Master and Commander, the fact that the man was performing the trepanation on deck with the entire crew kind of just sort of gawking and watching, it absolutely is grounded in history. Also, back to work, you worthless louts.
Well, they didn't have TV, so you had to watch something interesting.
Yeah, and you can't build a fire on a ship.
I mean, you physically can. You just won't have a ship for very long.
Well, actually, the galley, they had a metal box where they would build a fire to cook with.
Well, that obviously, but you can't just build it on the deck.
But it's funny because the galley was the only place on ship you were allowed to smoke. And it's because you could ash your pipe into the metal box that they were cooking over and not run the risk of lighting this wooden ship that's waterproofed with pine tar on fire.
I think he's frozen again.
I think
Yeah,
he
you're
is.
There we go.
Hey, what was the last thing you heard?
Oh, I hear everything.
Oh, okay.
Oh, we got some
Let's
more
see.
comments. Would
Yep.
any of you be willing to do short videos to help promote our campaign to erect a statue of Sarah Bradley Fulton? I'll be at the Boston Tea Party event on December 16th.
That's Bob. Yeah, I did a brief video with him a weekend ago. Sarah Bradley Fulton. I think there's a town called Medford. That's where Paul Revere rode through after he left Charlestown. That was the next town on the road to Lexington. Yeah, and
Mhm.
she had helped out in the kind of the war effort as I would say maybe an informant or things like that. So they're erecting a statue to her in the town, which is a nice tribute.
And Caleb, to answer your question, yes, that was towards the end of the film.
English Williams, this is the Echelon.
British weather, this is the Acreon. You will stop your ship or we will abscond with you. Or something of that nature. Basically, he was saying something along the lines of put up your sail and stop your ship or we're gonna start shooting at you.
Fair enough.
One of the best battle scenes ever. And it's crazy because in that scene you saw a very realistic thing of you had this tween, not even a teenager, a tween who was a midshipman. And they were starting to look like they were going to counterboard. And this kid jumps out with his pistol and is like, they mean to board us, shot somebody, and was ordering grown ass men to go aboard their ship and kind of stop this. And it was interesting because in the time period, there were people in the military of that age, and some of them were officers. I'm 26, you're 27, and we're military enlisted. If we were in the time period, there'd be this 12-year-old kid who was an ensign, and we would have to, salute this kid, despite one, him being a kid, and two,
Yes, but he's an officer, so
exactly.
So he's a human. He's not like us.
Yeah, we're the peasantry.
So at my age, would I be back in the Admiralty at pushing 50?
Well,
I have another movie on the list. Do you want to keep going or?
sure. Let's do one last one, and then maybe we can wrap up and do the after party.
Okay. Number 7 is Mary Silliman's War. That's from 1994.
I've never seen that one.
I was doing the 250th 250th Boston Tea Party Museum, and we're at the Old South Meeting House doing a play, and I was the town crier, and one of the other reenactors recommended this movie. So I watched it, and it's a slow burn, but it's actually pretty good in terms of the historical accuracy, like the clothing, the boating scenes, and it kind of just goes into the tit for tat kidnappings between the loyalists and the patriots in like Long Island and Connecticut. And so her husband gets kidnapped, and so she's kind of writing to the loyalists. She's writing to Governor Trumbull in Connecticut, managing the farm. She was pregnant when he got kidnapped, so she has another child on the way. And so it's really kind of just life on the home front during the war. But I thought it was quite well done. So you can watch it on YouTube for free. Yeah, Mary Silliman's War. Silly man.
I'll tell you, you're talking about the '90s. A really good, surprisingly well done 18th century movie from the '90s that just came to mind is The Treasure Island, with Charleston Heston and young Heath Ledger. Oh no, excuse me, Christian Bale.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't that the film where the stereotypical pirate accent came from?
Well,
Or am I thinking of earlier Treasure
That was
Island?
the
yeah,
50s.
you're thinking of the earlier one from the 50s,
Oh,
the Disney one.
okay.
Now this one, it had Charleston Heston as Long John Silver. It had Christian Bale. I think he was like 15 years old at the time as Mr. Hawkins. Very, very well done 18th century movie.
I want to say I remember seeing that back in the 90s, but I'm not sure. I'd like a refresher watch on that one.
Oh, Hardy Hat, he's back. I remember him from the last one.
Silly humans.
Hello,
Well-
Mr. Hardy Hat.
Well, he's not far off the mark.
Oof. I feel like for some reason I probably know who this is and just don't know who it is because of the YouTube name.
Hello, you silly humans, he said. Who do we know that would speak like that?
Silly human, says I.
That didn't answer my question.
It wasn't meant to.
Okay.
Okay, and the next one on my list was the one you just
We have
watched.
never met in person before.
What?
Okay, so that answers that.
Yep, there we go.
I don't know this guy.
Well, we're happy to have you anyway.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah, well, he's clearly into the Civil War stuff.
Yeah.
You got to get into the cool time period.
Yeah, as someone who did both Civil War and 18th century, for me, it's more living history. I can throw this stuff on and just chill, whereas Civil War, it's all about the battle. And there's nothing wrong with that. Like, 1,000 people, 500 on each side, just burning gunpowder. That in and of itself is really, really cool, but it's different than I'm sitting in my friend's house for Thanksgiving and we're all dressed in period clothing with period dishes and just sort of vibing, really.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's I think we talked about that last time. With the Rev War, it's like it's baked into the culture, at least on the East Coast, going west. And so many towns kind of have this knowledge of the past, and so it's acceptable in a way to have the civilian trades and just people portraying civilians. Whereas, say, with other conflicts like the Civil War, World War One, World War Two, you don't get that as much. So that's kind of people go to the a colonial house and they expect to see the butcher, the baker, and the candlestick maker there plying their trades. So I do like that about Rev War, living history. Oh, here we go. We got some comments there.
Early 20th century, am I
Coal
reading
Wars.
this correctly? Coal Wars? Great Depression?
Yeah, Cold Wars. That's like the that was where the unions were having the wars with the strikebreakers back in like West Virginia and other places.
Huh.
Depression era hobo. That would be cool.
Yeah, because everyone thinks hobo and they think, homeless person or.
I mean, a hobo is homeless, but they travel and
Yeah.
they work.
Yeah,
There's a
actually,
distinction.
Look for
yeah, we
jobs.
had a discussion about this a while back, and as soon as you brought that up, I thought of a book that I read. Oh, geez, what was it? Worker. He had a friend who was mentally challenged, ended up killing a chick, and the dude shot
of mice
him.
and men. Yeah.
Of Mice and Men. Of Mice and Men came to mind when you were describing the definition of the actual definition of a hobo, which is a homeless worker who travels where the work goes. That came to mind.
Well,
Great book, by the way.
Well, it's kind of an interesting thing, right? Because if you look at the Great Depression, there's photos of like traveling worker camps and things to that effect. In fact, there's a very good movie where that's kind of featured called The Highwaymen. It's about these two Texas Rangers who track down Bonnie and Clyde.
Why am I drawing a blank with their names? Yeah, that was a good one. Absolutely.
We had Kevin Costner, and it
Yep.
had
And Woody Harrelson.
Woody Harrelson. That's right.
Good old Woody.
What was that? My great grandfather and his brother rode freight
Kevin Costner.
trains
Thank you, sir.
out west back then. They were like 13 years old. That's interesting. That's really cool, actually.
I wouldn't let a 13-year-old do that today, but
Oh yeah, no, but
Well, back then they didn't really have a choice in the
that is
matter.
true, yeah.
yeah, and I think back then they were cut from a different cloth.
That they were, sir. Yeah.
Modern teenagers, they do, their Fortnites and their Instagram filters. Back then, teenagers were in the mines.
Yeah, now go jump a freight train. Try not to lose your leg and fall underneath it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, the most popular game is
Yeah.
Minecraft. So
We
for the mines.
Yeah, we had an interesting discussion. We took we canceled child labor in the early 20th century. The most popular game on Earth right now is Minecraft, which proves that the children yearn for the mines.
Oh, the irony.
uh I watch a lot of people on YouTube because I'm super into mountaineering, but I've never done it myself. I've been watching a lot of other people do it, and I like paving as well because a lot of the skills kind of cross over, and you'll have these cavers that'll go into 19th century and early 20th century mines, and they treat it like a cave, and they'll go excavate and explore looking for historical artifacts that they could sell to like museums or whatever. And um it's really cool because you're literally touching history. Like I watched this one video and it gave me goosebumps because this guy discovered a mine. It's on no maps. He spent like 2 or 3 years looking through all these maps that he could get his hands on, trying to find this mine. It's not on there, which means this guy was probably the only human to go down that mine since the mine was active. And they still had like ladders and stuff. Like he's literally climbing down the mine on ladders that were built in the early 20th and late 19th century. Of course, he drives into the sandstone anchor points and has, modern mountaineering gear, but that's more of like a safety net while he's climbing down on historical ladders. By the way, the hell with that, because those ladders were rinky as all
Yeah.
get out.
Your foot would go
And
right through the steps on them.
yeah, I'm sitting there thinking, man, mining or early oil exploration, man, you had to have you had to, excuse me, but you had to have a set swinging for those. My God.
Absolutely. Or the mafia might know about that mine. Who knows?
Regardless, it was interesting to watch because he was finding like boxes, candle holders, kind of not too dissimilar to this here. Of course, there's no candle in it now, but you hook your finger, you got the candle and what's going on.
Come on.
He found a pair of jeans, from the time period there, and
Oh,
he
yeah.
found sticks of dynamite.
Yeah, don't touch those.
Yeah,
Were
forget the sticks of dynamite. Let
they
me go look at
sweating?
those. I don't know, but forget the sticks of dynamite. Let me go look at them jeans.
That was one of my history classes. Yeah, that was an interesting thing. Levi and Strauss when they made the blue jeans.
Yeah,
I
it's
forget which
crazy.
one. Yeah, which one was he? One of them was a tent maker. I think he was Jewish, and the other fellow was a miner. And they got together and they said, "What if you just cut up the canvas tents and we'll dye them?" Originally they were white and make these reinforced work clothes, for the miners, and it took off. But they were
Huh.
considered work clothes until about the 1960s, and then they started becoming fashion. So.
Yeah, nowadays, go find me people like let's go to Walmart or something and find me people that are not wearing jeans.
Yeah, even the whole world. I mean,
Yeah,
t-shirts and
unless
blue jeans.
unless you're in North Korea where they are in fact illegal.
Are they? Oh.
Yeah, death penalty.
Yeah, I didn't go to North Korea, but I know people have been there on tourist visas. So I
Just
saw two
don't,
North Koreans when I was living in China in the cafeteria. So
just don't trip over the old dynamite box sitting in the corner down there.
yep,
Oh
boom.
yeah, yeah. Well, you actually know because think about it. If I don't trip over it, we're good. And if I do trip over it, well, it's not my problem anymore, is it?
At least it'll be quick. Yeah.
Well, I don't know. I don't think dynamite is that sensitive.
No, actually,
What's the
nitro.
nitro?
What was it?
Glycerin, nitro.
Nitroglycerol. That is very, very sensitive. But dynamite itself, which it's a different chemical that was kind of stabilized. It's basically nitroglycerol that was stabilized by another chemical. So tripping over a stick of dynamite, all you're gonna do is probably roll your ankle. Whereas if it was a box of nitroglycerol, yeah, you trip over that, you're SOL, bro.
Didn't they
Oh
say it
man, good
starts
times.
sweating after it gets old though, the sticks or something?
Jeans are too classy for Walmart. Try finding someone not wearing pajama bottoms,
That is
especially in the South.
and I live in downtown
Or each other
Houston.
dynamite over time.
That comment hurts. You know what? I'm gonna make a joke here because it happened. When I was living at Fort Lewis, I went to the commissary. I went to the commissary wearing breeches. And it's funny because while me and Ashton here, we were both stationed at Fort Lewis, we regularly went to the commissary in the Class 6, which, for those of you who don't know, the Class 6 is basically the military liquor store on base and in full 18th century clothes. And something that tickled my fancy was we were getting gas, getting ready to go to, I think, a Mountain Man impression, a Mountain Man
Oh, a
event?
rendezvous. Yeah.
Yeah, rendezvous. And the civilian MPs, i.e., they're cops on base, but they're not soldiers, flashed their cherries and berries, and they pulled their truck up, blocking our egress. They came and spoke to us, and they were like, "Oh, what you got going on? What you doing?" It was very easy to distinguish. They just wanted to come and see what we were about and what we're doing, and they just, I guess, didn't know how to come up and say hi. But
Yeah. Yep.
I don't remember that.
yeah,
No.
it was the gas station right before you hit Main Gate, and it was a pickup truck cop, a pickup truck with the cop stuff on it, and it was these civilian contracted law enforcement that came up to us.
Yeah, the PMO guys.
Yeah, yeah, and we were in full 18th century kits. We were gassing up to go to a rendezvous.
Yeah, I don't remember that. Like, I believe that it happened, but I did it so many times that I can't really
Yeah,
remember that one
and
specifically.
and it was because I was looking at you like, huh, those guys seem like assholes, and you were like, oh, that's just a thinly veiled excuse for them to come see what we're doing because we're dressed all funny.
Yeah,
Um,
I've had that with police as well. We went to a World War II air show in Canada, and the border patrol were kind of looking at all the clothes with the big question marks over their head, and then
oh,
we
it's
just told them, yeah, we told them there's an air show near Niagara, and they're gonna have a Spitfire and
continuing
a Luftwaffe, ME-109. They said, oh, cool, when's that time and all that? Where is it? So
continuing with experiences with law enforcement and historical reenactment. I was again still in Washington. I was on my way to the Battle of Chehalis. It was an American Civil War event that they put on in not Chehalis, Cheney. Basically, you have Spokane, Washington. About an hour south, there's a town called Cheney. and they put on this big old Civil War event that I was a part of. And I'm driving to Cheney to, do the event.
Yep.
And I was doing 120 miles an hour in my Volkswagen Passat. First car I ever owned with a turbo. And I was in full Civil War uniform, like without the car, you'd think I was of the time period. And I go vroom past the sheriff's deputy at 120.
Whoa.
And I'm like, oh shoot. I look up in my I never went from I went from 120 to 70 miles an hour in the matter of an uh-oh. I look up in my mirror, he didn't move, and I'm like, man, if I got pulled over dressed like I am in this small rinky-dink nowhere town, I would be the talk of the town for a week. Like, guess what I saw?
I had an experience not too dissimilar when I was in Maine visiting my wife's family, and we were driving. I was going to the Battle of Monmouth, where several of our Louisiana guys were going to attend, and so I was going to link up with them there. So I had to leave at like 3 or 4 in the morning, and I'm driving through New Hampshire, and there's this car in front of me, and he's just going slow, and I'm like, all right, well, I'm just going to pass this guy. So I start passing him, and there's a car in front of him, and I'm about to pass the other one. And as I get up, I start seeing the stickers, and it's a cop car.
Whoop.
And I was like, get my lane.
No.
And it was so funny because, like, I'm picturing that the cop probably saw me doing that and then saw when I recognized he was a cop and got back in my lane. Because there was no reaction, but that was just funny because I'm picturing myself getting pulled over in New Hampshire wearing this, and just the reaction from that trooper would have been pretty interesting.
It might let you off with a warning because up in New Hampshire, there's a lot of colonial reenacting and such.
Yeah.
He'd probably be like, "Hey, Bob, you can't be speeding like that up here."
Can't go.
Don't
worry, the event's not going anywhere.
It's crazy. It's crazy. Interactions with law enforcement are just interesting.
Oh,
In
wow,
fact, last time.
Oh, hold on. We got somebody from Paraguay watching.
Oh,
down South America, the real South. Well, buenos.
Well, hello. We're glad to have you.
Senor.
Oh, we got a new comment. Yep. As a law enforcement and reenactors, all coworkers were fascinated. I participated in events. Hey, good for you, man. That's awesome.
Yeah, and thank you for your service, man. People shit on cops all the time.
But we don't.
So, this is coming from a man who's been pulled over so many times.
I'm a perfect angel. I've never been pulled over. Now I've jinxed myself, so I will be pulled over.
Well, actually, my favorite, it's weird to say this, my favorite time getting pulled over actually happened last time I was at your house. What, like 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago? It was in Lake Charles, and I was doing 20 over the speed limit.
Cannon.
Which, in Louisiana, you do like 5 over the speed limit.
Yeah, so
cherries and berries are on.
That's on it.
When pulled me over, and I was freaking out because I have a temp tag from Nirvana, Carvana, and it was expired. I'm still waiting on the license plate at this point, and I'm just sitting there like, well, here we go. I'm screwed. And the dude was just so friendly. He walks up and says, "Hey, I pulled you over because you were doing this in this zone," and he goes, "Is everything okay? Are you okay?" And it caught me off guard because normally it's the scripted, "Hey, do you know why you pulled you over?" "No, sir." "Oh yeah, I pulled you over because you were going this over this. Give me your license, registration, and proof of insurance." But no, the fact that he asked if everything was okay, and he goes and he runs my tag. He does his business. He goes, I'm gonna let you off with a warning. Hey, you military? Well, yes, sir. Um, he was like, I knew you were. I could tell just off of how you're talking to me. I'm gonna give you a warning. You have a nice day.
Oh, that's
And
not how it went for me. They gave me a quarter period.
like it was funny because that was the one and only time I got pulled over and ended up liking the cop. Like I low key kind of wish I invited him over. Like, hey man, let's have a beer or something. You know, you're kind of cool.
Okay. I just
It was
mentioned
a
him. I'm just mentioning I'm a schoolmaster, and there's no trouble. So,
Of course, of course. You're not a filthy heathen like us.
well, I'm molding
yeah,
the minds of the young, so I respect the police and whatnot.
yeah. And I'm a surgeon, as you can tell by how much I drink.
Well, that
Although,
was the anesthetic back in the day, was it not?
it was an anesthetic. The poorer, more rural towns would be, let's get you as blasted as we can.
Bring out
But
the chisel
some
and
of
the
them,
hammer.
the wealthier towns, their surgeons who could afford it would buy opium, and they
Yeah.
would get you doped up on opium before they perform the surgery.
I wonder how much that
And it,
costs because it'd be difficult to obtain it back then. All the way, you'd have to go all the way over to East Asia to get it, or India.
yeah, yeah, alcohol was definitely much more common, but
Yeah.
um, opium was in use medically, but it was like I am the court physician and I'm doing surgery on the king
Yeah.
type of deal.
So
That's where you would
don't
see
mess
the
that up.
opium.
Yeah. What do we got? Another one.
But
Are
no,
you all East Coast? I am, sir. I'm the Massachusetts Bay Colony near the metropolitan city of Boston, near the Adams houses.
what was the
It
question?
says, "Are you all East Coast?"
No,
No. I live in Louisiana.
and I'm in Eastern Texas.
Basically, Louisiana.
About 3 hours.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'll put it to you this way: from Houston to Fort Polk is about 3 hours. And I live in that general area of Houston. And my friend who I go and visit regularly, he lives nearby Fort Polk, Louisiana. So, I'm not quite in Western Louisiana, but nearby.
Okay. Well, let's see. So since we're still on the movie topic, you were watching All for Liberty from 2009.
Yes.
Yeah,
Was that
I
a
I got
2009?
about
I thought it'd be much
Yeah.
older.
That's what Tubi said.
Huh.
2009. Yeah. So what did you? I got about 10 minutes into that, and I kind of lost interest. How about you guys?
Well, I kind of ended up skipping through parts because
I was mad at you. I was like, dude, stop skipping. I'm trying to watch a dang movie
because
here.
it was like a torture ritual for humor. It's like, let's go find the worst B movies we can on Tubi and like try to get through it. And we picked 18th century movies because it's like, well,
That's
that's
what we do.
that's what we do. Let's watch these. And
Uh,
like we would get to these scenes of dialogue and it'd be like, okay, let's skip. Okay, let's watch the battle. Okay, and it wasn't
I
terrible.
want the record to state you were pissing me off with that. Because I was actually trying to be invested in the scene, and it's like, we shall do this, that, and the other in the name of liberty, and skip. And it's like, dude.
Yeah, but then all right, so like I watched the movie through, like skip through parts, right?
yeah.
But then we watched this next one, the Battle of Camden is the name of it, I believe.
Oh yes,
And that one was very hard. Like
that was the one.
I genuinely would have to pause it and get up and go like get a drink of water.
That was for clarity's sake. The Battle of Camden was the movie that we talked about earlier that had like Party City quality of red coat uniforms,
Okay.
and it was so bad that halfway through halfway. So first of all, no. Let me comment on this.
Just tell it the battle. That was just a read.
Let me finish talking. So we watched about maybe 20 minutes of this movie, and it's bad acting, and we swear that they hired a woman of a certain knightly profession to play the part of like a maid or something. And then after this 20 minutes with such an actress, we just watched maybe 45 minutes of pirated reenactor footage. And it was at this point that we just turned the movie off, and it was so bad. Ashton here had to leave his own house and just we went on maybe a 45-minute walk through the woods to clean his palate over this movie. And then we come back to the house and we're looking at All for Liberty like it was
Yeah, it's like Shawshank Redemption.
yeah, it was like freaking it was like The Patriot. We were comparing The Patriot to All for Liberty after seeing the absolute diaper stain that was the Battle of Camden.
Oh yeah, we have a comment here that says Camden. It's painful to watch. And you know what's funny is like, so there's a reenactor. I've never met him in person, but I know him from social media. His name is Stephen McKee, and he like played General Gates. And very painfully, the guy filming is like playing a character from like first person POV, and is like asking him questions.
Oh, that was the
Hard. So
Oh, you got a question, Southern Settler.
Oh, hello, Southeastern Settler. I want to get into Rebel War reenactment. I'm in Louisiana. I'm in a Civil War group with someone in a Rebel War group. Any tips? So if you got Facebook, I run the 18th century Louisiana reenactors page. Get on there and just introduce yourself, man. Like we'd be happy to have you. Yeah. Probably some Civil War guys you might know, like Billy Johnson. He does the Rev War stuff now. Kevin Adkins, some others.
Doesn't Ken do Civil War as well?
He hasn't done it in a long time, but yeah, man, we'd be glad to have you. You know, we're building the 18th century stuff up here in Louisiana. So if you're interested, just go find that page and get on there.
And let me also kind of chime in here. I live in Texas, and I'd rather do 18th century reenacting here in Louisiana because the people that are doing it, the attention to detail, the love for history, the taking it serious kind of mindset, you're going to have just an amazing experience with these people.
Well said. Okay, let's move on to Rev War series. John Adams, 2008, with Paul Giamatti and Laura Linney. What do you think?
Perfect.
I haven't seen it.
Such a great series. I enjoyed it immensely, and I think that Stephen Delane as Thomas Jefferson is one of the best Thomas Jeffersons ever portrayed. And likewise, I can't remember the actor's name, but the guy who played George Washington, that was like one of the best Washingtons
Really?
ever on screen, in my opinion.
So I haven't seen the show, but in my opinion, best George Washington on screen that I've seen was in Turn.
Oh, I agree. That was a great.
Ian Conn.
And how does he compare to? I regret I don't know the actor's name, but the man who played General Washington in Turn.
Well, I would say it's kind of like it's apples and oranges. I think that Ian Conn in Turn portrayed a very good Washington. No critique, right? But I do think that the guy who played him and John Adams did an awesome job as well. But he felt more like Washington the man rather than Washington the commander, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
I felt he kind of was more like an older Washington in John Adams, like maybe Washington after the war.
Yes.
And
Well,
Ian Kahn was more like the mid 40s, late 40s, like my age at Washington in turn.
Can we comment right quick on the fact that George Washington, Ben Franklin, John Adams, and the like, literally, they were all like close friends. They built a whole nation together, and I can only imagine the lot of them in like maybe 1790 or something.
we got a comment here. Question: I stutter, so historical stutterers interest me. Did Jefferson actually stutter, or was he a shy speaker? I've never seen an actual source for him stuttering, like some people say. I personally have never heard that Jefferson was a stutterer. However, based on what I know of him from the records, he it would not shock me if he was a pretty shy guy. I know he was a really intelligent guy. I've been to Monticello several times,
Hmm.
and one thing one of the big takeaways that I thought was just really a cool detail about who he was is every day he would take detailed accounts of the weather on each day, down to like the barometric pressure. Um, and he had a odometer on his wagon. I thought that was really cool. And every mile it would ding, so he had an accurate count of how far he had traveled that day.
Interesting. I mean, then also for famous stutterers, you had I think it was Moses or Aaron. Going back to antiquity, was supposedly a stutterer, wasn't a good speaker. As
Who's
far as the
that?
record states. Moses in the Bible, supposedly he was a stutterer.
Really?
I had heard something about that, but I'm pretty sure it was not Moses, but I think it was Aaron.
No, it was his brother. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm sure there were a lot of big stutterers, but eventually they got around it. Then, you, of course, more recent history. You have the King there in England. That was a good movie. The King's Speech.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I've seen bits and pieces of it. I've never watched the whole movie.
It was well done.
Interesting comment on stutterers. I went to high school with a guy who stuttered something awful, but when he sang, no stutter, no stutter at all. Dude was talented. Like he was the kind of guy who'd bring a rock and roll guitar and amp to school every day. And I played the bass in high school, and we little dink around during lunch.
Might I trouble you some port?
Port.
Under one condition, and chat, please judge him on this. Give me your best Angus from Outlander impression with the whole port thing.
All right, let me have a swallow some of that. Some of this port.
Thought you were gonna do that.
Wrong.
I thought it was
Well-
gonna be Angus McFadden from Turn. I can do a good accent.
No, the scene was Angus.
Well, you didn't say do it word for word. You just said do an impression of him.
You know what?
Boo!
You're right. You're right. I
Oh,
rescind
even in the
my
comments,
raspberry.
they're booing
Hard
me.
feather, man.
Food in the comments. Let me get you a drink, my friend.
Yeah, I need to drown my sorrows. Well, it's funny. One of my favorite. We're talking about cinema.
Oop,
And we were talking about stutterers. You're good.
it's in your rug.
My
bad.
Is the John Wayne movie The Cowboys? There's a kid that stutters really bad, but John Wayne kind of provokes him to where he cusses him out, and he's like, "There you go, just keep that going, son." And it's like he's like, "Wait, I didn't stutter that time." He's like, "There you go."
Yeah, but the guy I'm talking about, and this is why I got some respect for stutterers, because man, is that just a horrible thing. He was hit in the throat by a baseball as a young man. And in high school, the dude was just a really, really talented musician. And it was an interesting thing because whenever he sang, he never stuttered while singing. He only stuttered when speaking. And it was I don't know. He was a case study of people with disability and their perseverance. And I know I'm off topic, but I just wanted to kind of highlight somebody with something that is a struggle and his overcoming of it. Um, if he's in the chat, I don't think he is, but if he is, I just want you to know, dude, I hope all your dreams come true, and I'd like to raise a glass to you.
So I love the Cowboys, but I hate that scene. I bet see many people have tried with that with their kids and did nothing but screw them up mentally. Yeah, I mean, it's as a teacher, I do the schoolmaster. I teach high school. Yeah, it's every person learns differently, and it takes a long time to kind of understand where an individual is going to succeed and what methods to use to make that happen. And a lot of it's just patience. It's just waiting years, even.
Mhm.
And I think if you have some kind of speech impediment or something like that, it's ultimately going to be up to you to kind of take the initiative to, you know,
To
work it
overcome it.
out. Yeah, to overcome it. I mean, if somebody comes in with, I got the idea, just throw him in a lake or something like that, it will come out of his stuff. Probably not. Um, but it's interesting with teaching. I teach about 75 kids, so each of them
Oh,
different human
wow.
beings. Yeah,
That's a
different
large class.
experiences. What?
75 at a time, or is that the overall graduating class?
I have 5 classes, so I'm gonna say about 60 to 70 kids. 12 in one class, 10 in another. But it's you
Okay.
don't really know the students till like May, and that's the tragedy of it. And each of them learns differently. So
So I have actually a question for someone who's obviously much more knowledgeable about the historical classroom. There was a scene, funny enough, from the movie Holes,
holes.
and there was a class trying to learn how to read, and you had little children. I would wager probably the age of 8, sitting in a class. Their classmates are men, grown men of our age, trying to
Yep.
learn how to read. And I wanted to ask your thoughts as to what do you think about the historical education system compared to the modern education system, and what are your thoughts as how we've improved and how we kind of lost something, the
Hmm.
pros and cons, if you will.
That's interesting. I don't know if I'll be able to answer it to your satisfaction. So I
Any
have been well, I have been when I took up the mantle of the schoolmaster like 2 years ago. A lot of people have pointed me in directions of historical children's books, things like that. But I mean, I would say in the late 18th century in America, it was very primitive, and you would have these small towns, and I think you needed to have like maybe it was 20 families to even have a schoolhouse, and you would have children from like 5 years old to 18, 19, 20-year old, in the same schoolroom. And there were no desks. It was just benches and like a counter along the wall of the schoolhouse. And your materials are very basic. You're basically teaching them enough English to read the Bible, basic mathematics so they wouldn't be cheated in the marketplace. Maybe if you had access to a map, of the world or something of some very rudimentary geography. And discipline would have been very harsh. Some schoolmasters would literally thrash the children, or they put those pieces in their mouth if they talked a lot. And kids talk a lot anyway. It's just how they are.
Are there
Um,
any excuse me, go ahead.
no, no, go ahead.
My next question is: are there any lessons we could learn from the 18th century method of teaching school that could be implicated in a modern classroom that would make the modern classroom more beneficial, in your opinion?
I can only see very few things because it's completely different planets now. I see rote memorization being one of the primary teaching methodologies used because you'd learn the catechism, in the Bible, and you would have the students repeat rote memorization about the tenets of Christianity. Another one would have been scaffolding. Scaffolding is when you really kind of hold the kid's hand through problems, things. They use scaffolding with the older students that can be trusted to help with the younger students. And, and obviously you had less people to deal with, so that has a sense of community. But yeah, they're almost incomparable. It's just such different, worlds. But I think being a teacher, I have my master's degree in secondary education. That is helpful for when I read these old educational books and things like that. I'm like, oh wow, that's interesting, or we'd never do that today, or it wouldn't work because the whole system is different.
Yeah, just or also the part you don't want to say out loud. Revisit the rule of thumb. Where you get that switch.
Oh yeah, I was looking at,
Oh,
yeah. I when I set up my at events, I have my little wooden table I showed you the picture of, and I maybe this winter I'll make some like of the disciplinary exhibits. I'll put a switch together. I have a feral stick I made. I want to make the horse bit. Was it the horse whisperer or whatever it is? Like it's a piece of wood and with a string around the back, a rope around the back, and you'd put it in a child's mouth. If they were talking a lot, they'd kind of have this bit in their mouth. They wouldn't be able to talk. Um, but I guess it depends on the personality. You had probably some schoolmasters that were like borderline sadists and they just like to hit people, and then
yeah.
other ones that were. I'm a kindly schoolmaster. I prefer to honey over the stick kind of thing.
Mhm.
Gingerbread. Yeah, children like gingerbread, so they
Well,
that was one interesting thing actually is they would make gingerbread and they would have the A, B, C like imprinted on the gingerbread cake. And if the child could master the A or the B or the C, you'd break off the gingerbread and they'd have a piece of that. So I try and emulate that in my exhibits.
we got some comments here. First of all, thank you for answering my question. That was very informative. Um, let's see here. Lady I used to know would get closed fist punched as a little girl by her dad. Everybody knew, nobody did anything because not my kid, not my problem. Huh. First of all, let me go ahead and well, I wanted to say, and let me just get this out on record. I do not personally condone laying hands on someone else's kid. But it reminds me a bit of the kind of the old mindset of a it takes a village to raise a child. And the old saying that I grew up with was if you were, let's say you were having a slumber party with a friend and you were acting completely out of
Give him that ramrod whooping. Watch out.
as I was saying, um, the when I was
Yeah.
growing up, it was if you were at a slumber party, for example, and you were acting out of pocket, you would get a whipping by your friend's parents, and when you got home, you got a whipping from your own parents, and it was I reject the whole not my kid, not my problem situation. And when
Yeah.
speaking on personal experience, I've been over at Ashton's house now for what, 3 days? And Ashton here with my own son, he's a bit of a rambunctious little kid. God bless him. Um Ashton also implemented discipline as well, but he never laid hands on him. And
Yeah.
my mindset with with that situation of not my kid, not my problem is that's not the mindset it should be because I firmly believe that it takes a village to raise a child. However, the not my kid, not my problem. It's more of you got to understand it's not your kid, so there's knowing your role in that village. Like I would never be okay with someone putting hands on my child unless it was myself or my wife. But I'm all for allowing discipline to be implemented by, the host of my son. Like if I was to allow my son to stay the night at Ashton's house, yeah, discipline my kid, but don't put hands on him. So I
Yeah.
think it's a balancing act because we as adults in the village, so to speak, we owe it to the next generation to guide them in the right direction. But there definitely are left and right limits to that. And I believe we have a follow-up comment. Let me scoot up.
Yeah, like I said, you take that ramrod out and give him that watch out.
Do what you will with your own kids, but don't ramrod my kid.
I'll use a steel ramrod on yours.
I read a
God bless
good
him. I
book,
think sometimes he needs it, but that's neither here or there. Oh, we got a new comment. I was more talking about how such acts were more tolerated back then.
Yeah.
Now, not so much.
Yeah, I read a book, Christopher Dock. He came to America in like the 1730s, 1720s, and he was a German immigrant, and he became a schoolmaster in Pennsylvania. And he had the radical idea of, you should reason with the child before, resorting to corporal punishment. And it was quite
Absolutely.
an interesting book.
By
It was
God,
it was
shut up. These
academic.
foreigners and these ideals.
Yeah, I know. There goes the neighborhood. Um, I thought it was interesting. It was an interesting book. It was a little academic. It got kind of boring. I was hoping more for like diary entries, things like that. But overall, I thought it was interesting. So he kind of had that notion.
Boy, wouldn't that be something you have to learn how to spell from a German immigrant?
Yeah.
Oh. We got another comment here. Spare the rod, spoil the child.
Very good.
I agree to an extent. Actually, you know what? I feel like we should put a pin in this, and I think we should have a separate YouTube live where we talk about discipline of children in the period and the modern day and draw comparisons. I think this is a complete conversation that we should have, but it is a little off topic to the discussion of today. Thank you to everyone who the ramrod. Thank you to everyone who had asked.
Give them that.
Thank you to everyone who asked the questions, and I think that would be a very excellent thing for us to explore in a different conversation. But to steer things a little bit more back on topic, 18th century or movies, historical movies, The Good, the Bad, the Ugly. There was this one film I saw long ago, and I can't recall. Also kind of speaking on disciplining the children and using historical things is the dunce cap.
Yes.
Where okay, this kid is
Hold on
just
a second. I have a dunce cap. I'll go get it.
you have to wear it.
I have to wear it.
Yes.
Well, we got a comment here. It says, imagine being a kid in Wales speaking Welsh, then come to America and be taught English by a German and your schoolmates were Scottish, Dutch, and French.
Globalization at its finest.
Mr. Worldwide.
Yeah, the Mr. Worldwide meme. But I'll wait for him to return before I continue my point.
with the 18th century dunce cap.
I would like to see this.
It's coming.
The suspense is killing me. But no, something as simple as standing in the corner. Like, you screwed up. and now you have to put your nose in a corner for not a long amount of time. Like when I was a child, the longest I stood in the corner was maybe 15 minutes. But when you have your nose and your face in the corner for more than 5 minutes as a child, attention spans and whatnot, 15 minutes is an eternity. But in the grand scheme of things, it's not that long of a time. I think putting your nose in a corner is a great corrective activity. I don't want to say punishment.
Yes, corrective action.
Yeah, me and Ashton here being of the modern military, we don't do punishment, we do corrective action. And I like that. I like that mindset because punishment is you're gonna do something reactive to negative behavior, whereas corrective action is you're gonna acknowledge the inappropriate behavior and you're gonna do something that fits the behavior in order to correct it.
Okay.
Put it on.
Here we
Put
go.
it on.
It won't fit in.
Put it on.
Okay. Dunce.
Don't take it off because that's
Don't take it off.
Oh, that is great. And you know what's funny? Speaking about he took it off.
That
Oh, we
fell
got a comment here.
Ugh.
Says that one of my teachers in first grade had a dunce cap that was used a couple times. Was probably the last gasp of that practice.
Probably.
No, it's funny you mentioned that because I think that is such a better way to correct inappropriate behavior. Because and now
Yeah, a little humiliation never hurt
Yeah.
nobody.
exactly, and I'm gonna pose this little thought experiment. Imagine someone was in our modern day was drunk, like just drunk as all get out, and he's kicking a stop sign, and the cops arrest him. He gets slapped with drunken, disorderly, disturbing the peace, whatever. He goes to jail, loses his job, and now his life is, for lack of a better phrase, ruined. Whereas, let's say, okay, this guy's drunk in public and causing a ruckus. Instead of ruining his life, it's okay, let's look at his work schedule. He works 6 days a week, and this is his one day off. Well, now he's going to spend on this one day off. We're going to have him from 9 in the morning to let's call it noon. He's going to sit in a pillory and let everyone in the community laugh at him, maybe throw some rotten food, all that matter. But after it's done, we let him loose from the pillory, and that's it. That's done. It's on his. We worked with him. It's on his day off. He had to lose half of his day off, and there's no paper trail to ruin this man's life.
That's pretty good.
There's no. But here's the thing. Like I just said, there's no paper trail to ruin the man's life. Because let's be honest here, everyone in this room, and I'm sure you yourself have partaken a little too much in the drink and have done some stupid things. That's nothing to ruin your life over.
They weren't
So-
recorded though. We didn't have iPhones then.
My point my point being is public humiliation should come back because in our modern prisons, in our modern judicial system, we're too speedy in putting things on paper. A man who got drunk and broke a window of some gas station should not be charged with attempted burglary or whatever. Throw his ass in the stockade or the pillory for half a day. We throw rotten food at him, and he has to pay to have the window fixed. But outside of his stint in the pillory and rotten food thrown at him and little toddlers calling him a stoopy poopy head, that's the end of it. I think, and it circles to the point that I'm trying to make. I think old 18th century judicial practices are superior to our modern day because it's less paper trail and more let's humiliate you for a bit because of what you did. And at the end of the day, the humiliation's done. We haven't ruined your life.
I mean, seeing a guy in an orange jumpsuit outside in a pillar is pretty funny.
Yeah,
The
and
dunce cap.
actually, Ashton, by day you're a paralegal. What is your opinion on what I just said with bring public humiliation back
Public
and let's
shaming
dial
back.
it back? Yeah, public shaming back and let's shy away from rushing to put things on paper in court.
Oh no, full endorsement. Bam. You have my stamp of approval. I mean, it's I mean, I'm just like picturing a father with his son and being like, listen, if you don't get your act together, that could be you right there.
It could be
Yeah.
you. Dunce cap. Yeah, they still
I'm
do that in
loving it.
China. I lived in China for a while, and they'll publish like the test scores on a public bulletin board so all the other students can see what your test scores were. So they still very much do that.
But that reminds me of something I just saw recently in Singapore where in like an official government video, they unveiled a punishment for this crime, which was caning.
Oh yes.
And
Oh,
they had,
yeah.
and they had like this whole rig set up where they had like a dummy in this like device, and then they had the practitioner demonstrating how it would be done, and he's like whipping this dummy with a piece of bamboo.
Yep.
And I thought, to me, right, I thought that was kind of funny, because I'm just imagining seeing that happen here, just like in ye olden times, watching someone get caned for a minor crime.
And I want to comment on that real quick. Let's say, Ashton, you're the paralegal here. Give me a like bullshit crime.
Public intoxication.
All right, public intoxication. If you are charged with that, what generally happens?
Well, in the civilian world, like you could end up paying a fine, maybe do a little bit of jail time, but usually it's a pretty minor crime.
All right, now picture this: you have you're found guilty in a court of law, and you have two options. The judge gives you two options: pay $500, let's say, of a fine, or if you can't. Screw that. No. Forget jail time that ruins people's lives. I say, here's your options. Pay the $500 fine, and if you can't,
Ugh.
well, we're gonna put you in. Hey, put that back on.
Oh, I'm not a.
Um, if you can't pay the $500 fine, because let's not ignore the fact that there are downtrodden individuals. Forget jail time. We put you in the pillory, pull your pants down to your ankles, and we spank you. Grown ass man, you getting a spanking in front of everybody. But literally 15 minutes. 15 minutes. You're put in the pillory, trousers dropped, spanked, pants up, go about your business. That's not life ruining. But a week in jail, literally a week in jail, that for some people, that's life ruining, especially on the downtrodden. So I say, bring back public humiliation. Because one, people are going to learn much more from that than, oh, I got to sit in a cell and think about what I done for a week. And it's not life ruining.
I already said it. You just get that ramrod out,
Oh, that ramrod.
Ramrod, watch out!
As someone who has been appointed as magistrate for an upcoming event of ours, that's gonna break. Go get a piece of bamboo, green bamboo. It'll last way longer.
Yeah, I mean,
We got some comments here.
I don't know
yeah,
when
they're interested for public decency.
Okay, yeah, that's fair. Maybe a big wall, maybe a big wall so that we can drop their trousers and spank them on the bare ass, but the public can't see, so that we were not being indecent here.
Right.
I think that they did
they'll
a
be
thing
facing
something like that in
them.
Singapore when I was younger, and that was a big scandal. Some diplomat thought he had spray painted a bunch of cars in Singapore, and he got caned. I had no problem with that.
I mean, he earned that.
Yeah.
He earned that.
The point, the meat and potatoes of what I'm saying is we can cut a lot of life ruining events and potential repeat offenders by just publicly humiliating them. Imagine this. Yeah. You're a gangbanger, throwing up your signs, a lot of street cred. But your gang, if you will, just watched you get your pants pulled down and spanked. I promise you, gang banging is not gonna be his thing anymore. And it's because humans are by nature a social creature. I think prison is not social enough. Forget jail. I don't want to see you locked. Or another thing, you have an ounce of weed. An ounce of weed.
I like how we've gone from 18th century movies to corporal punishment.
I know we've gone off the rails, so to speak.
And it's great. You get caught with an ounce of weed. You point to me any college kid that has no weed on them. Yeah, good luck. This is a college kid. We're talking 18 to 21 years old, maybe. Forget ruining their life at such an early stage by giving them a possession of drugs charge. Take their weed and they have to walk around with a sign saying, "I'm a no good nobody." And they have to sit at a gas station or something and say, "I'm a no good nobody and I'll never amount to anything for 4 hours. I promise you they won't touch the green again."
It's possible.
On that note, I think it's time for the after party.
I believe so as well, because we're wildly off topic.
Well, it was a good live.
And thanks for having me live and in the flesh.
Yes, very good.
I appreciate that. If you want to follow me on Instagram, go look up the Mo Baker Official, with Mo being M-O without an E. You'll see more of my content, and I'm working on the 18th century surgeon thing. I'm hoping to get some ballistic dummies and performing 18th century surgery on them. It's still early in the works, and it will come to fruition. Just it's early works.
Very well. Well, it was a good chat.
Yeah.
Now let us move on to the after party.
Okay. Good evening.